And honestly, I'm making the most money I've ever made in my life, and I'm probably the brokest I've ever been.
If you want to know how the economy is actually doing, stop watching the news and just go to your local Dollar Tree.
This is what's going on in the American workforce. We're being used.
The mainstream media is actively lying to your face about the economy. They're reporting that unemployment is down and the job numbers are up. Inflation is down, and then all you have to do is literally step outside, go to the grocery stores, try to buy some things to eat, cereal, watermelon, eggs, cheese, you name it, and you see the prices are sky high, right? And they just keep rising. They are reporting that everything is fine in the economy, everything is okay, everything's fine and dandy. Then you take to social media platforms like TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and you see average Americans, regular people, regular Americans just, airing their grievances, being infuriated about what's happening in the economy. And in this video, we're going to dive into clips from creators talking about what is happening here and just how wrong the media is about the economy. Let's dive in.
We were sold a lie. We were told
100%
that if we go to college, we get a better education,
right,
and we just work really hard, we could have the American dream. That's just not the case anymore. That's not the case anymore. I did that. I got a better education. I got a job that's supposed to be good. I worked hard. And honestly, I'm making the most money I've ever made in my life. And I'm probably the brokest I've ever been. Inflation is out of control.
And that is a sentiment that is being said by many Americans, many people on social media platforms, where people are making the most money they've ever had, but they still can't afford, groceries, rent, etc., because of how high inflation has risen. And again, it's just a devastating state to be in here. Now, obviously, maybe people have issues with budgeting and saving, but you see that sentiment spread across so many people. It can't just be like an isolated thing, in my opinion.
Inflation is out of control. Inflation is the problem.
100%.
Our wages are not keeping up with the cost of living. Gas is $5 a gallon. Rent is astronomical. Forget buying a fucking house. It's not possible. Groceries, take out a loan. Take out a fucking loan if you want to buy groceries on a monthly basis. And I have a child, so I have to buy groceries on almost a weekly basis, if not, maybe every 2 weeks. It's just bullshit. We can't keep doing things the way that our parents, our grandparents did things. We have to change something. Something has to change.
100%. I totally agree with her here. This is from Caitlin. Something has to change. Something has to be done here. But clearly it's going to, take more people voicing their concerns, more people spreading awareness to what the average American person is facing and shedding a light on these issues. That's what I'm doing with the channel, guys.
Okay, I'm telling you, if you want to know how the economy is actually doing, stop watching the news and just go to your local Dollar Tree. That place will tell you everything you want.
She's so right. Just stop watching the news, go outside, go grocery shopping, fill up your tank. And a lot of people would agree with her. That's what I said. I see so many people sharing the same sentiments. I don't think it's just it can't be an isolated thing. It's across the nation. It is a full economic collapse that we're seeing. Not even a silent recession. It's some people are saying it's a depression that is taking place.
Wanted to know. They have packed aisles. They have long lines, and they have more locations opening than almost any other retailer in the country. But somehow the news headlines say the economy is fine. That the stock market is up.
Lying to us.
Yeah, that sounds cool, but I'm sorry, I don't believe it. So I wanted to know for myself. I downloaded Bezify and I can see all of my transactions in there because I wanted to see with my own numbers, not just some narrative I'm being fed.
Right.
Because my grocery bills say something completely different than what the news is saying. And I would argue that the middle class isn't shrinking. I personally feel like it's already gone. And
she's hitting the nail on the head with this, man. A lot of economists, a lot of people, a lot of, hardworking Americans You've seen the videos I've made so far. They are seeing the writing on the wall, and it's clear as day. Even people that are, I would say older, that have already established themselves, they see what their kids are facing, under the age of 25. They see what their kids are facing, and then they're like, what is happening? Why is inflation, why is the cost of everything so high?
Feel that gut punch every single time you check out at the grocery store. So no, everything's not fine.
Not.
I dare you to comment what your last grocery receipt was. Because when you look at that number, you're going to be like, she's right. Okay,
Great take here. Completely agree. Now, obviously, you could argue when people voice their concerns to social media, you could see it as people are whining. But again, there's so many people that share the same sentiment here. So I don't think it's just the case of people are complaining or whining. I think most of the people that we cover, or the clips that I share, are very hardworking Americans, but it's still extremely difficult for them to get by, for most to get by. Not everyone, but for most.
The economy is going to collapse and no one is talking about it. I worked on Wall Street, and much of the investment in the US is because of the exploitation that we allow, like by regressing our tax rates or pushing costs on a society and the environment, and by preventing labor from participating in any sort of upside that their work created. This is part of what has buoyed stock prices, which we just can't believe keep rising. But here's the thing. Soon there's going to be nothing left to exploit.
That's insane. And I'm not an economist here. I am not an expert in any of these topics. And I'm putting that, out there for everyone that's watching. I'm not an expert in any of these topics, but I am doing my best to try to educate myself. And I'm documenting the journey here with this channel, and, hopefully forming a community of people that could relate and also want to join me on this journey here and help me learn and give me insight as well.
Concentration of resources and the movement of resources away from assets related to the public good, like infrastructure or housing or education, are now leading to a mass deterioration of economic conditions. Eventually, the collapse in productive conditions will overpower the attractive influence of the exploitation that we allow.
It will be unsustainable.
And at that point, capital will leave the country.
And we're already seeing people leave. I have to make that a video as well, where millions of Americans are already leaving the country.
A further deterioration in conditions, causing more capital to leave the country. You see where this is going.
That's
so
devastating.
Asset values are going to collapse, but more importantly, so will our living conditions, which means more misery and pain and suffering and impoverishment, which, by the way, makes all of our lives worse. That is, unless we do something about it.
Right?
I know the weight of what I'm saying, and I don't take it lightly. It makes me sick to my stomach. But over time, I've become more confident in this analysis, not less. If you want to do something about it, like, follow, interact, do whatever you can.
This is what's going on in the American workforce. We're being used. We're being used and exploited, and they're taking us for everything that we have. They're taking us for everything we have as employees
It's not right.
and as consumers. And
not
this is
right.
what really pisses me off about it, is they like to pretend like there's just economic hardship. Like, what does that actually mean?
Right.
Is economic hardship the fact that these companies are unwilling to raise wages, even though the cost of living that they set a lot of times, they're not willing to bring the cost of living down, but they're not willing to bring wages up, and then all of a sudden that's just some mysterious economy?
So groceries go up, gas prices go up, rent, mortgages, etc. keep going up, yet wages stay the same. And it's like completely almost impossible to raise wages for hardworking people. How will they be able to get by? How will they be able to keep up? They can't. It's not a sustainable system here. It's not. And that's why I said I'm doing my best to educate myself. I'm not an economist. I'm not an expert in any of these topics, but I'm learning, and I'll be documenting my journey, like I said.
Really? Like they're just ravaging us so much that it gets to a point where we can't keep up anymore. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, the mysterious economy up there in the sky. So there's some complication. That's why we're doing layoffs, because of that. Not cause and effect of underpaid and overpriced by the same companies that employ us and we buy products from.
Let's have a discussion in the comments section. I'll be super happy to hear your thoughts on what is taking place. Is the mainstream media lying to us? I think they are. I think they're trying to parade that everything is fine in the economy when it's clearly not. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, really appreciate all the support. God bless. I'll catch you in the next one.